when it comes to like the conversation about body count, it's mostly like the limit for it. Like, you know, people want to be with people that don't have like a high body count. But for me, when I think about it, it's like I don't want to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't have enough experience, because I've been in like those situations, and like it's like frustrating. Like, I don't know, I don't want to like teach someone like what to do or like how to do it. So for me, it's like I have like what is it, like minimum of like what I think they should have.
Okay.
That's
But yeah, like
groundbreaking.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to school. But don't worry, everything is cool. I'm your host, Jalissa, and of course, I am here with the boys, Steve and Brennan. Say what's up, you guys.
What's up?
And we got a special guest today. Y'all probably have seen him before. We got Jose.
hey, what's up?
Hey.
What's up, Jose? Why don't you give the people some background about you if they don't know already who you are?
Yeah, I'm a content creator. I've been doing it for about 3 years, and it's mostly about relationship stuff. It's I don't know, like advice. I
Yeah.
guess? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like me making fun of the people watching and then just calling it advice. I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly love your content. It's really funny and it's pretty relatable. But I also really just like how straightforward you are with it. Because I think what makes it relatable is that I think we all kind of have that thought in our heads. And that's why I love it. Because I'm like, I feel like I've thought about this. I've just never been able to, I guess, like,
Articulate.
articulate
I
it.
get you.
So you're for sure like that person who's like, this is how it is.
I think it's interesting too that you're a cis man who like gives advice, because I feel like most people get advice from like women, and I think that's
Yeah.
super interesting to hear also your perspective on it,
Yeah.
because I know there's
And-
this sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say, and because of that reason, like, a lot of people think that I'm either, like, gay or bisexual. Like, I think a week ago I did, like, a podcast with Snow, and I talked about being straight, and everyone was surprised about it.
Yeah.
Because they just assumed that since I talk about, you know, relationships, or, like, I have a different perspective, like, I'm must not be straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it bother you that people have that conception of you, or are you like whatever?
No,
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah, right.
But I think it's really important though to get your perspective, because I don't know about you guys, but the only straight relationship perspective from men is usually really toxic.
Yeah.
It's like women should cook and clean,
Yeah.
this and that. So it's refreshing. I mean, in my opinion, like Jose's the only content creator that I've seen personally give, not really outlandish and conservative takes on relationships. So I think it's really refreshing to see. Yeah.
No,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. I think that's something that's really nice to like see, and I think that's why even more I love your content, because of how relatable it is, and the fact that you're like not really attacking anyone. I mean, you kind of are just talking on relationships overall, and anyone can relate to those,
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
it's a heterosexual, relationship, or
Gay, queer.
all those
Yeah.
things. Like, I feel like it's just relatable overall. Like, you're not
Yeah.
really attacking anyone, which is really nice to see.
Yeah. And I think I have a question for you.
What's up?
As someone who makes content about relationships, you hear about this all the time, is that TikTok ruins relationships because everybody has these unrealistic expectations, this and that. Do you think that's true? As an insider, I would say.
That TikTok
Or TikTok, social media in general, has ruined relationships.
I don't know. In my experience, it hasn't. I've been in 2 serious like relationships, and we didn't fight because of social media. Like, there wasn't anything that, like, social media didn't affect the relationship at all. So yeah, in my experience, it doesn't affect it. But I have friends that like has like deal like with that. But I don't know. It's just for me, like, I don't really like social media is not real to me. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't care like what happens or like what I see over there.
Yeah, I think that's what's really crazy, is that I think when you take advice from social media, you have to always take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And know that like these people also don't know all the intricate details of your relationship.
Yeah.
Because for all you know, they're giving you advice about something that you don't relate to at all.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm gonna drop my man because he's toxic as shit, right?
Yeah.
And
And
it
also-
doesn't.
No,
go
but-
ahead. Go ahead.
and also like the couples that you see, like, they are only showing like the good parts of their relationship. Like, it's not, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are curious about that too. It's also kind of a question. You told us before the show, but people I'm sure want to know too, is like, where does your perspective come from? Because I thought that maybe it came from like your parents were very progressive, but you let me know that that wasn't true at all.
The ideas that I get for my videos come mostly from like friends, because a lot of people vent to me about their love life, whatever. When I first started making videos, it was on my own life, my own like dating life, because I was like starting to put myself out there. Because before that, like I wasn't really out there, or I wasn't really comfortable like talking to women and like doing whatever. So by the time I started making videos and like putting myself out there, most of the time it didn't work because I didn't have any experience. And yeah, most of my videos came from that. And then I started getting into like healthy relationships, and that's when like I stopped getting material, I guess, for my videos. And yeah, I started talking to all my friends.
But as like a man, do you feel like the way you address relationships was taught to you and handed down by your father or not?
Oh no, I don't. No. Like my dad, he's someone that genuinely thinks of himself like an alpha male. Like he's really like he's really like conservative and like there's a lot of toxic masculinity. So yeah, no, it doesn't come from my family at all.
That's crazy. How did you escape that toxic masculinity mindset? Like, what really helped you?
Yeah, it was when I finally left home and went to college. Because before that, when I was in high school, like I believed it, or that's everything I knew. So I like
you were like, I'm an alpha male.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
And then I started being friends with like women and getting the perspective. I remember that there was one conversation of like a friend telling me how she felt after the guy let her on, and like how that fucked with her like mentally. And that's when I realized that like like that mentality is not good. Because like I don't want to do that to people.
I'm surprised most people don't make that connection. That new foundation of like, oh, if I treat women with respect and see them as human, it actually opens up a lot of new mindsets, like new ideas of like, wow, we could all be friends and we can like actually enjoy this world together instead of you're just this object and this person to mistreat.
I just think that's crazy though, but it's really, I guess, in a way fascinating of like how you had that realization and knowing that there's people who don't have that realization and how it kind of just, it does affect like people and men and the way that they treat women. I just thought that was really interesting. I'm like, damn.
Well, it's probably our society, like the patriarchy, like it's what since it's run by men, I think that it's really easy to think, like you said, I'm the alpha, I'm the king, like the opposite gender is supposed to be submissive towards me, and that's not true. It's just what you've been taught, like you've been conditioned to think that, and once you actually, at least for a second, like that's what I think about with conservatives, like I think for a second, if they realize that most of the shit that they believe in is a social construct, like I think they would have like a new realization. Like I think about that with you know how the humiliation rituals are, like
how they said that about John Cena.
Have you heard about that?
Like in college?
No.
Like, so they'll say this about, well, if you're like a conspiracy theorist, right? The people who believe in like the Illuminati or whatever that, they'll say that celebrities, in order to achieve more fame, more exposure, more money, the Illuminati or the higher ups makes them do humiliation rituals.
I heard about that with politics. Like that's the reason why politicians like
people say that happens too. But like for in the case of celebrities, right? They'll be like, the humiliation ritual will be like, oh, they're cross dressing. So they'll cite like a movie where so and so plays a transgender person, or there's like, it's a comedy movie and he's wearing a dress. And then people were saying that about John Cena at the Oscars because he showed up naked. But
but I bring that up because people are like, you see, they're trying to demasculate men by making them wear dresses. But I'm like, that's such a social construct. Like, what if you didn't give a fuck about dresses? What if you're like, how's a dress humiliating if I don't think it's embarrassing to wear a dress?
Right.
That's what I think about. I'm like, that with conservatives and men who have that idea of what a man is supposed to be, I feel like its foundation is built on nothing. It's built on an idea.
Yeah.
Would you like wear a dress or a skirt or like, any like feminine?
I think I would wear like feminine clothing. I think a dress and a skirt, I think I would be a little bit, I mean, I'll be honest and be like, I'm kind of afraid of what, because I come from a conservative family of just Mexicans. Yeah. So I'd be afraid of that perception. But if I was comfortable enough where I feel like people wouldn't like, I guess, judge me, I guess I would. But I think that it's a lot easier said than done. And I see why men are super afraid of that. But I also don't think there's anything wrong if a man does wear a dress. Like if like Brandon or any of my other homies came up in a dress, I wouldn't bag on them and be like, oh, like, look at you. Like, what are you trying to be, a woman or anything?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because thinking of that, like it's so different, especially like for women. Like if we were to wear like guy things, it wouldn't be an issue, right? But for men, it's a really big issue to, I guess, wear women clothing. And I think that really sucks, I guess, for men in a way of like, you guys don't have that freedom to kind of express yourselves without being questioned about your sexuality. And I think that really sucks. And I mean, I guess women do get it in some ways. Like you get the tomboy, right? You get like that kind of thing. But it isn't as bad, or I don't know if it is as bad or if it's the same thing. I mean, I'm a girl. I don't really like see what you guys kind of experience, but I'm kind of
It's for sure more accepted for girls to like wear boy clothes, I guess.
Yeah.
And I wonder why that is. And I have no idea why that is. Maybe it's the patriarchy again too.
Yeah, just, it's more accepted to be masculine than feminine.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. What do you think people think that you're gay or bi? Like, what do you think that comes from?
Why?
Yeah, why do you think that is?
So, I like, I made a video about it, like me coming out as straight. And I was reading like all the comments. And yeah, most people say that it's because of like the way I speak. Because I'm comfortable with like wearing like skirts. I wore like crop tops before. Do my nails. I don't have them done right now, but I usually do them. So yeah, it's because I'm okay with like, doing that type of stuff. Because for me, like, behavior, it doesn't have anything to do with your sexuality. So yeah, like, I know I'm straight, so like I'm okay with like doing whatever, like trying out different stuff.
Yeah, no, that's true. Do you feel like there's a difference because you're from Mexico, right? You lived there for what, 18 years of your life?
No, like 11.
11.
Because I went from when I was 2 until I was 11, and I came to the U.S. I went to Tennessee from 11 until 18, and then from 18 to 22, I was in Kentucky.
Wow, it's really interesting because you still have your accent too.
Yeah,
I would have thought like this isn't a diss, I swear, but it's like it's like you have the accent, which makes me think that you've lived there like a majority of your life, but you've lived a majority of your life here, huh?
Yeah. At this point, is most of my life here, and I have the accent because I have no, like, obviously I can like hire a what is it, like the one that
accent teacher,
like a speech
dialect coach,
whatever. Yeah, that. But I have no interest in doing that because, I speak multiple languages. Like, I have an accent because I speak, 2 languages. So I'm not embarrassed by it. Like, like, I don't see a need for me to, like, stop speaking this way.
Yeah, it's like you wear your heritage, like, physically almost on your body.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you still visit Mexico, though, right?
Yeah, I go, like, once a year.
Do you ever feel yourself act differently that you do in Mexico than you act here in the United States?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because especially in the South, like living in the South, there was months where I would go without like anyone speaking Spanish in the streets, And I was always like the only person of color in like the friend groups. So yeah, like I had to, act differently. Because I hate like sticking out. So
you would assimilate. Your accent would go away, and he'd have like a southern accent.
yeah. I'm a southern boy.
Yeah. I meant it too in the sense of like, okay, actually, you can paint this for me because since I've only ever visited Mexico, do you feel like there's this perception that Mexico is very conservative? Do you feel like that's accurate, at least when you compare it to the U.S.?
I feel like from what I seen, I think the south of Mexico is conservative because it is more traditional. Like in Guerrero, for example, like I know for sure that my parents like they grew up with that mentality. They didn't want me to act a certain way. Like that's why they were conservative themselves. And to this day, like they still don't see anything wrong with it because, everyone in their group is that way. But then I went to Mexico City I think like 2 years ago. And I saw how different like the culture was and how people were able to like express themselves and like there wasn't anyone like judging them. Because in the neighborhood I grew up, there was a gay man, and I remember that, like everyone like made fun of that person, and like my mom, like she told me that to look at him and to like never be like him. Like she would go out of her way to like let me know that that's not like a role model or like someone that I should follow.
Damn.
And then in other parts of Mexico, like it's not like that.
Yeah.
So to me, like it's the south of Mexico that's like conservative.
Well, it's like the same as the U.S.
Kind of like the U.S.
Yeah.
So what's that like going from the south of Mexico to the south of the U.S.? Like conservative.
Yeah.
How do I guess that's interesting to me. Like, how does the conservatism compare? Like like what do they hyperfixate on different things, or is it kind of like the same type?
Yeah,
of
because in Mexico, well, in both areas, I struggle with like colorism and racism. In Mexico, I was darker than most of the people that I was around. Like there wasn't any black people, so like I grew up thinking that I was black because like I'm dark skinned. And then like I would get like a lot of like not bullying, but like there will be comments about my skin color and like me be that I needed to be like out of the sun so that I can like get lighter. And then when I moved to Tennessee, it was about me. Yeah, like I went to a white school, and they wanted me to like assimilate and like not have an accent, like speak English. So yeah, it was like racism, and then in the U.S. it was racism as well, but more like anti like immigrants. Yeah.
Damn, but you never had it easy, huh?
No.
You went to the south because it felt like home, huh? You went
Yeah.
to the south.
Yeah,
That
no,
makes
I
sense.
wanted
Yeah.
to.
It's funny that Mexicans have such like a colorism problem because I also feel like Mexicans also have like this addiction of like I'm an Aztec warrior, and it's like, bro, like if you really look at indigenous communities, they were like more darker, like colored skin, and then they're so easy to be like, well, you should get out of the sun because you don't want to get as dark. So it's interesting that they have that. Like they have that colorism in there.
Yeah, like have you seen about what's her name? Like the singer group is like I think Yoraida or Y Su Grupo, something like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like I think it's a little girl, and then like her
Yaritza?
Yaritza, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like how most of the bullying is like the way she looks or like the way the people that all of them look.
Yeah.
And like even though that she's like whitewashed, people are making fun of like the way she looks.
Yeah.
They say like nopal en la frente and they say all that shit. Yeah, I've seen the one where the people put like the apocalypto like cast and they
I saw
put
that too.
them.
Yeah.
And then they make piñatas out of them and they really like emphasize like their indigenous features.
Yeah.
Which is so weird because like I don't understand. I don't understand.
It's really confusing because
how old is she? Do you guys know?
she was like I think she's like 15 or 16.
I mean,
she's really young.
It's already horrible to do that to a person, but like
I know she's really
to
young.
a little teenager.
I don't think she's like past 18, but I know she's really really young because I think when she got big, I think she was like probably like 12 or 13. So I think right now she's around 15 or 16. And what I think is pretty confusing to me, because they're Mexican American, right?
Yeah.
Like they were born here and they were from where, like Washington or I forgot, either Washington or Wisconsin. I can't remember.
Washington,
Washington,
remember?
right?
Yeah, chicken tenders from
Washington. And like to me, it's just like what's crazy is that they're being making fun of because like they can't speak like Spanish, right? Or they're like no sabo kids, right?
Yeah.
But then they're being also attacked by the color of their skin, and they're saying like, oh, like tienen el nopal en la frente. Like there's all these like things that they're dissing them at, but it's like it's coming from like both sides.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're not Mexican enough, but you're also like not American enough to be like
accepted.
Accepted. So I feel for them, especially because like we're Mexican American, and I'm just like, bro, like it's like they can't win.
Well, people are just being hypocrites if you're Mexican American and you're making fun of them, because a lot of people will admit that if you're Mexican American in this country, you feel as though a lot of the times you're racial profiled, you're being oppressed by white America, and then to turn around and do it to your own people, whether it's here in the U.S. or back in Mexico, you see people who are darker skinned or have more indigenous features, and you're like, ew, look at you, like you're gross. That's basically what they're doing to you in the U.S. So like, why are you still doing it and passing it down in this country?
Well, it feels like, I don't know what you call it. Is it like moving the goalposts, where it feels like being an authentic, being authentic is nearly impossible, because there's always all these boxes that are impossible for anybody to hit. Like if you don't speak perfect Spanish, then you're out of it, right? But then you hear like, oh, if you're dark skinned, you're out of it, right? You're supposed to be lighter skinned. So it's like, how do you check off all these boxes? It seems more like, what can we attack? Like, what don't they have? Or what do they
that's
have?
Why that's what confuses me, especially about them, is that they're being attacked because they're not Mexican enough, but then they're being attacked for the color of their skin.
Yeah,
and it's just like, what?
The music they make.
The music they make is it's.
I like the song. I haven't heard the rest of their music. I only know the famous song.
I recently was seeing I actually saw it last night. It was a TikTok about this girl who was saying like, oh, if you're gonna be the representation of Latino or Latinas, you should speak Spanish. And she was saying like, if you're gonna be the representation, you shouldn't just know like just English. Like you should know a little bit of Spanish about it. 'Cause she started saying like, her example was like Selena, right? Like she was very Mexican American, but she didn't know Spanish, but she was still trying to learn it. And like, that's how she was kind of the representation of Latinos, 'cause she was still trying to learn it. And she's like, but as someone who, 'cause I guess somebody came on like a show and she couldn't like speak Spanish at all. Like she was just struggling so bad. They were like, that's not representation of a Latina. 'Cause then why would you get a Latina that doesn't speak the actual cultural language? Yeah. And I thought that was interesting that she was saying that, 'cause I was like, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I feel like she's still part of the culture though. Like her language doesn't have to do anything with it, right?
No, I don't know. That's just I kind of get what you mean, and I think the topic of Spanish and no sabo is always complex, and it's gotten more complex the older I get. I'm interested to hear, Jose, what you have to say, because I know you speak Spanish. You said you speak Spanish really well.
That's my first
What do you think about Mexican Americans who can't speak Spanish?
Like the whole no sabo argument or like whatever, I don't feel like it's productive. I do agree with the fact that for Latino representation, or like the face of like, Latinos, Latinas, it should be someone that speaks Spanish. But I also think that there can still be some representation as long as they're not like the face of it, or like they're not leading the, I don't know what to call it. Like it's not like a movement. It's like
the poster child for I get what you mean.
No, that's what I'm talking about. That I think it's complex, because I think if you're a Mexican American who doesn't speak Spanish, I don't deny you of your identity. I still think that you're part of the culture, but there is certain facets that I think you will miss out on if you don't know Spanish. I don't think you should shame people and make fun of them and bully. 100%. Because people, like you said, when you were in southern United States, you wanted to assimilate, right? You didn't like standing out. So I don't blame when immigrants come to this country and then they don't teach their kids Spanish because they're afraid that they're not going to fit in if they know Spanish. So I don't blame them. But I agree with that take, that I think that if you don't know Spanish, you're missing out on certain facets of the culture. And what's funny is the thing I just think about is memes. Like, I just think there's a lot of Spanish memes that I think are fucking hilarious. And if I didn't know Spanish, I'd be missing out on so much.
And like most of the media I consume right now is in Spanish. Like on YouTube, TikTok, like the memes is mostly in Spanish. Because like I feel like white humor is not as good.
Like American humor?
Yeah, American humor.
Yeah, and I think it's important too, because we've talked about on the show that in order to talk to family, like obviously if you're somebody who's born here and you don't know Spanish to the best degree, there could be a communication barrier. And one of the most important things, at least in an ancestral level, is that we're able to pass down stories and information of our family through just conversation. And if you can't converse with your older family members, like your grandma or your grandpa, you're going to miss out on that. And that tie, like that ancestral tie, is going to break. And then it's just going to start with, the American history, which is fine. I mean, like, I get it. Like I said, it's not your fault that your parents didn't teach you Spanish. But, like, if you have a grandchild and then your grandchild's like, where did we come from? I was like, I don't fucking know. I never talked to my grandma or my grandpa. I feel like that's so sad because you lose your heritage.
I don't know. I think it's a really interesting and complex conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of factors that come into play. Because I do think, right, when it comes to representation, I think there's an important element when it comes to Spanish. I don't think it's the element, but I do think there's an important element, because I think that's where you get into this like slippery slope of like you see the memes about it all the time, where like actors, they'll be like, oh, this is the Latino representation, but you hear them speak Spanish in like the media that they're representing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, me gusta tacos and shit, like, you know, they're not saying it correctly, right?
Or do you remember the Off the Block one? The what is it? Si no piensan los voy pegar los dos en la cara. Yeah, remember? You know what I'm talking about?
Or they'll be like, me and abuelita. They'll just randomly like show like stuff something in there.
Yeah.
But I also think like it's still a bit complex, right? Because then you think about people who came here at different times, right? Like my dad grew up in like the 50s, right? When the teachers could hit you, and they would hit him for like, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really complex situation. So when people make fun of like Yarita, right? Because they don't know Spanish, right?
I think
it's very like no sabo, like they still can hold a somewhat conversation, but it turns into that kind of like, oh, I don't know the word in Spanish, so I'll say it in English.
Well, if I had to give them a grade, they have a C- in Spanish.
Well, because I can only imagine the racism they probably experience here. So I can't imagine like it's an easy task to like have that, you know, to keep it. Because I mean, I'm sure if you're, look at the racism she's already experiencing and the bullying she's already experiencing, and that's the stuff we see online. People are fucked up in real life, you know. Kids are mean, you know. I can imagine that it's a really hard task to kind of boldly keep it in a not so welcoming area, you know?
Because if I just imagine being her, and it's like, well, white America is telling me that I look mad Mexican, and they don't accept me in their country, and they're like, fuck you, like, you're a fucking Mexican, you're an immigrant, and then, but since you don't speak Spanish, your own people are like, fuck you, you're not Mexican, you don't speak Spanish. So I'm like, damn, then where do I fit? Like, I'm just like by myself. Like, how depressing is that?
Oh, yeah.
So I think we should be a little bit nicer to no sabo kids. But I agree. I agree that maybe the face is a little bit crazy. Like, I don't know if I'd make them the face. Did you hear about that? We talked about this a little bit last week. Did you hear about the face of Latina makeup? She got exposed that she's like a white girl.
No, I didn't hear about
that. Yeah, it was so if you Googled it, or if you like looked it up on TikTok, every single time you would, I guess, type in like, oh, Latina makeup, it was a girl that would come up with like straight hair, like big lashes, and like makeup, like all beat up, and then it turned out it was a white girl. Like she's just a white
cosplaying.
Girl. Yeah, she was cosplaying, I guess. And everyone was like, oh, she's the inspiration. Like, this is how like everybody wants to look, and blah blah blah. But it turned out that she was a white girl the whole entire time.
Is
like
she,
that, right?
Is she getting like backlash?
Yeah.
She was. Do you know her name?
It was like something Chipman. Like, I forgot her first name, but something Chipman. And then her dad came out and made a TikTok about like, you guys shouldn't be attacking my daughter. Like, she just wanted to play and be Latina. Like, she was just going through a phase. Like, you guys shouldn't be bullying her. She's really young. And then there was a part where he said that I was like, bruh, where he was like, he's like, it's not like, he was basically saying like, oh, she found God, which is why she came back to being her like regular self. Yeah, it was basically, that's not exactly what he said, but that's paraphrased of what he was saying. And he was like, yeah, like it's not like she just basically lost herself and she was in her Latina phase, and that's okay. But he also claims that he's part Mexican. And he's like, but I'm not gonna say how, like, he's like, I'm not gonna say what side, I'm not gonna say how much. He's like, but
why
just because
not,
she
though?
wanted, but but he was like, you can see me, you can tell. And then he's like, so it's not like on her that she wanted to, you know, like I basically like you
be proud of her,
be
heritage,
part of that
or whatever.
heritage, yeah. And then I forgot who it was. I forgot his name. But there was a TikToker. He was like, yeah, it's like, he's like, bro, in my DNA, I'm 12% black. Do I look black? No. So he's like, that's what he was trying to play as like to her, that she's like, I guess some percentage. Because then like, eventually he showed them his grandma. He's like, this is my grandma and she's Latina or some shit. And she looks nothing Latina.
The dad's grandma?
The dad's grandma.
So she's like what, like 1/16th?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't think
that's
like, valid.
I don't
think she's valid.
Yeah.
But she changed her name too to something Latina.
She did. She changed her whole persona. She was, she was like Unia like Gutierrez, basically. That was her name, but her actual name is something Chipman.
Why do you think people do that? Because remember, I don't remember her name, but this important figure towards a black movement. She was like really like big. She pretended to be black.
With like curly hair, right?
Yeah.
I know
and
what you're
then
talking
her
about.
parents came out and exposed her and was like, we don't know why she's doing that. She's not black at all. We're white.
I think she was getting tan or something.
Yeah,
Or
she had curly hair, and then I forgot what she. I don't know what
was it
movement.
when she was talking about that she's like trans, like racial or something like that?
I think that was her like defense after,
right?
But she was I would not say the face, but she was a big leader in like this movement for black people.
Yeah, it was an organization.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know who you're talking about. I don't know her name.
Yeah,
or
I don't know
like
her
what the
name.
organization was about. But yeah, like she said that she was like a light skinned African American, and they came out that she was like 100% white, or not 100%. But
her parents like did like a news story, and they're like, we have no idea why she's doing that. She has no ancestry at all. She's 100% white, and then but I don't know. Why do you guys think people do that?
I mean, it's kind of like Ariana Grande and what's her name, Kylie Jenner. Kylie. They just want to be close to. I don't know, cause it's cool to be like a person of color, like black, Latino, Asian. Like you just want to approximate.
I'm more curious as to, do you think it's kind of like a fetish, or no?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a good question.
It's kind of like that.
I think he kind of hit it like really close. I think it's like they think it's cool, so they admire the culture, and so they want to almost be part of it. But luckily, because they are people who are white, they also get the privileges that white people do. So they get the best of both worlds. It's like, I don't need to take on your guys' struggles and all your guys' problems and prejudices that you guys face, but I can get all the good parts.
You can like cosplay.
Yeah.
Because I also noticed it with like the way that people speak, like the was it like black thing, black accent. I see it like all the time.
Yeah, the black accent. Ariana Grande, I think, does it. Aquafina famously got backlash because they said that's how she spoke. I think it's because in just like life, the cooler that struggle usually provides some type of like perseverance that is deemed as cool. And I think because if you're somebody who's coming from a white background and you rule most of like the world, like the country and stuff, I don't know if that's a controversial opinion, but I mean, most white people, they are in power. And I think if you're that and there's less of this emphasis on what your people have gone through, you feel like, oh no, like I've never gone through a struggle. I've never gone through hardships. Like that means I'm not cool. But you know who has? Latinos and Black Americans and all these Asian Americans. They've all gone through these insane struggles. So maybe if I like start talking like them, dressing like them, looking like them, maybe I'll be cool too. I think that's where it comes from.
Ariana Grande's is the wildest. How they compare.
Every race.
She's in every race. Her skin tone always changes, and then the way she talks changes. Really weird.
But now she's like the whitest of white.
Oh, she finally accepted it.
She's lighter. She's lighter.
Because she's dating SpongeBob.
She's dating SpongeBob.
She finally accepted it. But moving on in the conversation a little bit, I wanted to talk to you about. So you do OnlyFans, right?
Yeah. I've been doing it for a year and a half, I think.
Oh wow.
2 years. I don't know.
How'd that come about? Like, what made you want to do OnlyFans? Besides the money.
Yeah, it's mostly because of money, and also I always been comfortable with like, my body and like taking pictures, sexting. I like it. So when OnlyFans came about, like, I don't know, it wasn't like a big conversation. It was like, I already have some videos like saved up. I'm just gonna post them.
You have them saved up? You're just playing it for fun or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I do like sexting. So it was videos that I sent to like the people that I was dating, or like, so yeah, like to this day it's mostly like for me, and I think I had a different perspective because I'm a guy. Like I'm okay with like, showing it off or whatever.
Showing it off.
Yeah, like it's not a big deal for me. So like I'm still like comfortable with like,
Does your family like?
No, they don't know.
Oh, they don't know.
They don't know.
Really?
Yeah, no. most of my family don't speak English. So whenever I talk about having an OnlyFans, I do it in English so that they wouldn't like understand it. Yeah, it's only me and my little sister that knows. And she knows because last year it was her, no, like 2 years ago, it was her birthday. And like she rented an Airbnb and it was like me, my ex, and then like a couple of her friends. And it was like a getaway for, her birthday. So we're hanging out, and then we were like, okay, we're gonna go out tonight, so let's get ready. So like me and my ex had like a room, and everyone was getting ready. So like I was done like fast. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna like do OnlyFans while I wait for everyone.
The logical conclusion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was by the window, so I started like taking pictures. And then one of her friends like went out. And she saw me. She saw
She saw you like
yeah,
like
yeah.
in the position.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Like she told my sister, "Hey, I saw a guy like taking pictures." And like at first, everyone thought that it was her ex, like her man. I mean, and my sister thought that her man was cheating on her. So I was like, no, like it was me. Because otherwise, like they were gonna get into a fight, so I had to like come up and like say, yeah, it was me, like taking the pictures.
But you didn't.
You're a real one for
You
that.
didn't lie.
I couldn't,
You could have just be like, oh, just like I had this mole growing. And I'm sending it to my doctor.
No, because the friend was like, hey, I saw like a guy, like he had like the tripod, because he was like right there. So like she saw everything.
I'm dead.
And like yeah, they thought it was her man, so I had to be the one like saying it. Otherwise, yeah.
Was
but
it? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but how did your partner feel about you doing an OnlyFans?
Oh, she doesn't care.
She didn't care.
No, because I don't know, it's online, people are seeing me, but like they are not actually being physical with me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
like
you-
she's okay with it, or she was okay with it. Unless I started actually like fucking.
Doing-
Yeah.
For
How
money.
did how did the conversation like come about? Were you like I guess scared to bring it up, or no, or was it just like, oh no, it was just fine? Like when you first had the thought, and then you had like your
Yeah.
partner, like how did that
Because I don't
happen?
know. I don't remember if I did it before or after I started dating her. But yeah, it wasn't a big conversation. Because in general, I try to date people that are progressive or like open minded. So yeah, like so far, all of the people that I talk to, like dated or situationships, whatever, they don't care about it.
I agree with what you said, though. I think it's definitely because you're also a man. I feel like if it was vice versa. If you were a woman and you were asking a lot of guys, like, are you okay with me doing OnlyFans? I don't know if you'd have the same reaction. I don't know if people would be as open, because I think, go ahead.
Would you be okay with your man doing an OnlyFans?
With my man? Sure. I mean, he's bringing in the money.
Right.
I'd be like, he's bringing
right.
in the money.
Yeah.
I think there would be some type of, I guess, of like jealousy in a way. But I feel like if that's, I guess, his decision, he's going to hate me for this, bro. But I feel like if it's his decision, like, it's cool. Like, you're going to do you. I think it's the same thing as, like, as long as nothing gets, like, you're not very, like, I guess, having the conversation or being very, like, intimate with them. I feel like that's fine. He's bringing in the big bucks, so I can't really complain.
Would you help him?
Would I help him? Yeah, I would help him. I'd be like, bro, you want me to...
Put that
Send
on
it? I was
Get
like,
the angle. It's like,
no, yeah. I mean, I've never had the conversation with him. I think the only thing we've ever talked about is like if I were to sell like my feet pics, but that's it. Like that's all we've talked about. But I don't think we've ever talked about OnlyFans, or maybe we have, but it was more towards me. And I think he said he was fine with it, but I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
I don't know if I would do it. Like if I were to start an OnlyFans, only because I'd have the biggest fear that it would flop and then I'd be embarrassed. I'd be like, I never.
That's all.
I'd just be like, nah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, that is embarrassing.
I'm just like, no.
What about you?
Would I do it?
Yeah, will you do
Yeah,
it?
same as him. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think I'm in demand.
No.
Yeah.
That's a lie. That's
Yeah.
a lie. I feel
You
like
don't
you
know.
would.
You don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, you do it creatively, like or like do
I
like
could do what John Cena did. How he started one where it's like comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you could do
but-
storylines and shit.
Oh, like it's like a drama, but it
Yeah.
people watch for the storylines. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Do you ever get any weird requests to do like on OnlyFans? Do
Yeah.
you do requests?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you
I
do?
I do. The weirdest one was a guy asking me to take a shit.
I
And, like,
saw that video.
Yeah.
I saw that video.
Yeah, like they wanted me to make a
Wait,
video.
what?
They wanted me to make a video of me taking a shit.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, no, I don't want to do it. But then after like a couple months, I kind of needed the money, so I was like,
No
okay, yeah, I
way.
got you. And then he was like, okay, if you're gonna do it, then I want you to get up when it's coming out, so that I can see it like come out. I want you.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I want you to what was it? Grunt while it's coming out, like for the effort. And also, yeah. And also, I want you to eat a lot of like beans or whatever, so that there's farts while you're doing it.
I mean, I don't mean to judge. I'm sorry.
No, I know, and I was like, no, that's too far.
Wait,
Like, I
didn't
can't
he also
do
say
that.
that he wanted to see you like wipe your butt and like
Oh
show
yeah,
it?
He wanted me to do that, to wipe, and then to like take the camera and like show the ball. So yeah, like
I look.
I was like,
gag.
no, like I
I'm
was
not
okay
gonna
with
lie.
taking a video, taking a shit, but like I'm not doing all of that. You know, like, that is
That's
a
wild.
lot. That is a lot.
And then what was funny is that he told you, "Oh, can you just send me a
Oh, yeah.
picture?" Because
Yeah,
he
'cause-
didn't respond to it.
Yeah, I didn't respond to it. So I was like, so I think like 2 days later, he was like, "Can you just take a picture of your shit?" And yeah,
How much was he offering you to do that?
we hadn't talked about it yet.
Oh,
We were still,
really?
like, yeah, we were still. He wanted to talk about like what the video itself was going to be, and then we're going to
We'll
talk
talk
about
money. Yeah.
But no, like, no.
I thought it was the other way around. Like you were like, nah, but then he made you an offer. You like, you're like, all right,
Yeah.
that's
He
a
was like,
decent
fine,
offer.
yeah.
Yeah, and also I don't know how to like market myself.
Yeah.
Because right now when I do customs, it's like, hey, can you make a video, masturbating, and then say my name while you're coming? And I usually, it depends on like, what else they want me to say or like what they want me to wear. But in general, I used to charge like between $20 and like $50. And then I started talking to people that had like less followers than me and like less engagement, and they told me that they charge like in the hundreds.
Yeah, I was gonna say
And-
that's kind of low, bro.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie.
I don't know, like
20 to
I don't know how
30?
to like market myself.
To take a shit,
Mhm.
20 to 30
Yeah.
bucks is no way. You
Yeah.
should be charging like in the hundreds for sure, especially because
Yeah.
you have a big following. I mean,
Yeah.
not that I'm an expert or anything.
I know. No, I got you for free. Don't worry.
But that's crazy. I wonder, is it fucked up to make fun of them that they like shit, like that they like
That they
literal
like
shit?
weird. That they like
Yeah,
weird stuff.
is it fucked up? Because I want to laugh, but
I
I'm like,
know, like I try to, not judge people. So when I
Yeah.
when I made the video, I try to like not show like his username or like
Mhm.
talk about him as a person. But
I
don't
feel
know.
like
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it goes back to kind of like, I think as long as they're not harming anyone, I
Mhm.
guess.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's their own fetishes,
Yeah.
and I feel
Right.
like you can't really judge them for those fetishes. I think as long as it doesn't get to an extreme
Yeah.
of like or
Mhm.
harming someone, I think they're like
like I want you
people
to
are-
shit out your balcony onto the people.
yeah, like I feel like it, because I always think about like people who like feet, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the most that I can think of of people liking feet, of a fetish, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, I feel like you can't judge them because there could just be some sort of, I guess, trauma, or there's just some sort of thing that they find comfort in
Mm.
that specifically.
Interesting.
That they probably went through their life. I don't know. I mean, I don't personally know their life. Like that's just an assumption. But I just feel like you shouldn't really, I guess, judge them. And I think it all just goes to as long as they're not harming anyone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's their own
Yeah.
thing. Maybe they might find friends, like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's a hard pill for people to swallow, but I agree with that take because I'm all about like deconstructing the way that we think about like normal shit. What are you about to say? I'm all about shit.
I'm all about feet.
No.
Because I'm
Which
all
is
about
okay. It's okay. I don't judge.
That's not me. I
Okay.
swear. But I'm all about just gonna deconstruct deconstructing like what we find normal. No, never mind. I don't know what I was gonna say. But I feel like stuff like that, like like it's
creating
weird.
a safe space,
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're like, if they're that's what they're into, like, hey
Yeah.
man, as long as they're
Yeah.
not like, I don't know, like,
Well,
killing people with shit.
I feel like I don't know.
No, go ahead. You can say anything, bro.
It's I don't think it's a hot take like at all. But you all could tell me if I'm on the wrong side of history,
Okay.
and you can educate me and
Oh, if
correct
we
me.
cancel you?
Well, I feel like I get being understanding to an extent,
Mhm.
but I feel like there's, like you said, there's like, I think people can get really extreme, and
Yeah.
they take advantage of the like, don't kink shame me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, nah, not you though. Like
Yeah,
you're
Like-
weird for that. Like you're actually
Yeah,
weird for that. Like I don't think that's cool.
No, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
for example, a lot of the thing I see is age play. Like, people pretending to be like
That's what I was gonna
kids.
say.
Also race play, like
That's weird.
Yeah.
you know, saying slurs to
Jesus.
like the white person saying slurs to like the person of color. Yeah, like you should like king shame.
Yeah, well, I
that.
think like those certain things are an extreme.
Yeah,
Like-
I just feel like I feel in my heart, not in my heart. It's not that passionate. I feel so passionate about
So
it.
personal.
Yes, oh my god, it's just an issue. I feel like people
He
aren't.
feels it in here.
I feel like people aren't mature enough to be able to draw that line correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like when people talk about porn, or like how people can get addicted to it, right?
Mhm.
They talk about how like for some people they can't handle it in the sense of like they need more and more extreme stuff. Some people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think about that when it comes to like certain kinks, where it's like when they do, I can't name anything off the top of my head, but I'm like, I feel like down the line you're gonna need something that I think is probably really bad.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
BDSM.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess because it's silly. People don't like talking about it.
No, 'cause
Yeah.
like, 'cause- no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, is it okay if I ask you like what's your weirdest kink?
What's my worst kink?
Weirdest?
Weirdest kink? I don't think. Yeah, no, it's okay if you ask. I don't. I'm honestly like, I don't think I have anything, or at least I haven't found it out yet.
Yeah.
I don't think I found it out yet. I don't think I have like a weird kink. I think I'm pretty boring. I think I'm pretty vanilla. Yeah. I think people have. I don't know if you guys have anything crazy or feel comfortable sharing. If you don't feel.
Yeah, you don't
comfortable.
have to.
Yeah,
A
you don't have to.
kink?
Yeah, do you have a kink? Do you have anything that's cool? Because some people have like mommy kinks or like like daddy kinks or like being tied up and shit or like handcuffed and stuff.
That's cool.
I haven't I don't think I can just say that I haven't found mine.
Yeah.
Found mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything weird or anything crazy?
I like public stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Public?
Yeah, public. Like,
Interesting.
I don't. What's the word? Like condone it, or like
Advocate?
advocate for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I donate in like parks, elevators. Like when I was working, I would do it like in the office.
The guy who has your office now is like, what?
Your boss is a fan. He's like,
He's having
He's like,
flashbacks. He's like,
"What?"
wait a minute. Like, I remember I came in one day and I was like, it smells different in here. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What about it? Like, where do you think it comes from? Like, is it the excitement?
I think like the rush of like
uh,
maybe being found out.
mhm.
Damn.
But
That
yeah,
is
I think like that is the only one that I have.
That's not bad though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd only be bad if you like did it like at a park where there's like kids
I mean,
and shit.
that was the
Yeah.
first one that I said. No, I didn't do it when there was like kids and stuff.
Yeah.
I did it, yeah, like in the middle of the night, like when there was no one there, you know.
Mhm.
like a gentleman.
Like
Like
what?
a-
Like a gentleman,
Like a
yeah.
gentleman.
Like a respectable man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect that. I
Yeah.
respect that.
Yeah.
Moving on a little bit, you
Mhm.
had a questionnaire
What's
on
up?
your story last
Oh,
night,
yeah.
and that's okay. I have it
Mhm.
pulled up, and you asked your fans like what are some controversial takes that they have, and if it's okay with you, I'd
Yeah.
like to read some of them to hear what
Yeah.
you guys have to say. Oh, you said problematic takes.
Mhm.
So the first one is men ain't shit. Is that a problematic take to you guys?
I don't think
I
that's
don't think so. I
problematic.
think that like that is the popular.
I think
opinion.
men are shit. No, shit.
Damn.
I'm just kidding.
Is it more problematic if I'm like women ain't shit? Cause some women ain't
That's
shit.
also like I feel like both sides is normalized. Like
Yeah,
men
right?
talking about like how women are in shit, like gold diggers, whatever. Like that is normalized, and
Yeah.
also on the other hand, like women talking about how men ain't shit.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like I see
Yeah.
it all the time.
Yeah, both genders ain't shit.
But
Like, there's both sides. Like we're both
Yeah.
humans
Yeah.
ain't shit. Humans ain't shit.
I feel like I think I always equally kind of hear stories from
Mhm.
either side of like the men or the
Yeah.
woman being like evil or manipulative in a
Mhm.
relationship. So for sure, I feel like there's just equal parts, but I feel like because women are so outspoken sometimes, I think you hear a lot more of like what they go through with men than with men talking about it. Because men, I feel like men don't really talk about shit, you know.
Yeah.
Excuse you? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Well, like they wouldn't talk about like things that they would go through in a relationship sometimes.
I guess when I hear that take of like men ain't shit, my mind doesn't go to relationships.
Uh-huh.
It goes to like facts and like periodical stuff. Maybe that's not the right word.
Or like
but
history?
yeah, like the patriarchy or like how they
Yeah.
overturned Roe v. Wade. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. That's even an
Oh.
opinion. I feel like that might be like just a fact.
Yeah.
It is,
they-
yeah. it
Yeah.
is a
So
fact.
that's why like that's why I'm like I feel like it's a little different because I think when men are like women ain't shit, it's very like, oh man, my girl cheated on me.
Yeah.
But when a woman says men ain't shit, it's like they took away my rights, and I'm like, yeah, I think it's not even on the same
Yeah,
level,
yeah.
you know.
You're like, man, ain't shit. I think about Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah.
And all these
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also think that if you find like a problem, like if a woman saying men ain't shit hurts you, I feel like it's a projection because I feel like you're
Mhm.
thinking it's a personal attack.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like if the shoe fits, wear it.
yeah.
It's like if
Yeah.
you feel personally attacked because somebody said men ain't shit, probably means because you ain't shit.
yeah.
Right.
Right? I think
Yeah.
that's where it mainly comes from. But next opinion.
Yeah. So you don't take personal offense to it?
Men ain't shit? No, not
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
I mean, well, because I think me and my sister, I think I grew up really close to my sister, and she just gave me a lot of the woman perspective.
Yeah.
So I feel like I grew up very empathetic to women, and even now, like with me and my girlfriend now, she tells me a lot of. I've come to realize there's a lot of things that women deal with that are invisible to the male
Yeah.
perception. And because of that, whenever women say men ain't shit, I don't think I take a personal offense to it because I can understand why you would be mad. I mean, like you said, right? There's like on history, government level of things trying to like they see women
Yeah.
as objects. Roe v. Wade being overturned, so I get it. Like I'm not gonna be mad at somebody if they think women ain't shit. I'm sure if I was a woman, I would fucking hate men
Right.
the same
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
for
Yeah.
sure.
I don't
and
take offense to it.
I think if like you can't, if you take offense, then we're not really fixing the problem.
Mhm.
Like you have to be
Mhm.
able to have that like what's the word, objectivity to it, to be like, no, yeah, I can see that, and the only way we fix it is if you see it. And I think
Yeah.
when a lot of guys are like, nah, it's like, well, that's how nothing gets fixed because
Yeah.
nobody wants to take
Right.
accountability for actions and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I think that's the biggest thing, and that's what I also because I have a nephew, and
Mhm.
obviously, and he's a dude, and I think I try to be very objective in the way that I have my uncle raising moments where I give him some virtues. I try to tell him like, like there's no reason to be like this is for girls, this is for boys.
Yeah.
It goes
Yeah.
either way because that's what I hear about a lot from the women perspective is that like things were very gendered to you guys growing up, but I feel like at least for me growing up as a dude, I didn't feel like things were too gendered, but that's because the world is run by men. So it's like I could do whatever I want with my life, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, women are raised to be like, you're going to be a stay-at-home mom and you're going to take care of the kids. You better watch what you eat because then what if when you get older you can't have kids,
Yeah.
right? As a dude, I'm like, I'm free to do whatever I want. And actually that
Oh.
reminds me of something that I wanted to ask you because I think
Uh-huh.
it's really interesting. I'm sorry if I'll take this out of the pod if you
No, it's
feel like
okay.
this, but you got a vasectomy, right?
Yeah. I
What
did.
was the thought process behind that? Why did you get a vasectomy?
So I got it 2 years ago, and at the time I was with my ex. We were dating for, I think, 5 months by then, and the reason why I thought about doing it was because I saw a TikTok about where it was like a guy opening up the what is it, like the side effect list of like birth control, and it was like a big ass paper.
Yeah.
And then I asked my ex about it, and yeah, she told me that about like the effects that like birth control pills have in like her body, and like I just didn't want her to like deal with that. So I was like, yeah, like I'll do it. I did some research about it, and yeah, like it's not like a big deal. I feel like people over not overthink, but like they put a lot of like, I don't know what's the word, significance to, you know, having a vasectomy. But no, like when I did it, it was like a 20-minute operation. I was awake. I was talking to like the nurses, the doctor, like my head. Yeah, after that, I drove home, you know, like, and then I went to see a movie the next day. Like it was, like it's not a big deal as people make it seem. So yeah, and it was like $800. Like it's not that expensive.
I thought you were gonna say like I was with my ex for 5 months and I was like, man, I never want to have kids. That's what you're gonna say. I was gonna be like, damn, that must have been a harsh relationship. Well, it reminds me of I heard this interesting take that was like, you always hear that it's selfish if you don't want to have kids. But recently, our generation is saying it's actually selfish if you do want to have kids.
Yeah.
Because you look at the state of the world and you see, you know, the wars and you see the environment dying and you see all these problems that we come up with. And to bring a child into this world that seems to be filled with a lot of pain, just because it's going to look like you and you have something that I guess is a social construct of like, oh, it looks like me and it has like a blood relation.
Right.
It seems like a very selfish way of thinking if you want to have a kid. At least that's a take that I've heard.
Yeah.
And I guess I bring it up because I'm like, did you think of that too? Is a vasectomy undoable? Like, can you do
Yeah, you can reverse it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not interested in doing it. Like, I know for sure that I don't want kids. But yeah, when I was talking to people about it, the arguments of like why they wanted kids was like, who's gonna take care of you when you get old, or like, you know, stuff like that. And it's like you're not actually thinking about the kid, you're thinking about like what benefit they can bring you.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, like to me that's not convincing, or like it's not a good argument to have.
Yeah, it's very self-centered, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what about me?
No, I was gonna say, did you feel, I guess, different when it happened? Like, was there anything? Because I know that that's like a talk, right?
His testosterone went straight
down.
down.
Like for men who, I guess, like are scared to do it, right? Because there's always like, oh, is there like side effects? Like, what's the after of that? Like, is it different when you actually do it, right? I just want to get more, I guess, the clarification, because I've never actually met or have known anyone who's actually done it before.
Yeah. No, it's completely the same. When I did I think like the first week it hurt. Like, you know, I wasn't able to like
perform,
walk. No, like no, like you're not supposed to come like the first, I think like 3 or 4 days after doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was scary because they say it was like blood coming out if you like come like right after. So I didn't want to come at all like the first week. And then when I did, I was nervous. I was like, what's gonna come out? Yeah. But no, it's completely the same. It looks the same.
It looks the same.
And it doesn't hurt. And no, I love it. Like it's.
I feel like people are curious on that if it looks the same.
For sure.
Yeah, and also there's no like a scar. Like it doesn't look different. You perform the same. Like. It's 100% normal. It's 100% like, you know, before and after.
Yeah.
You're the same.
Well, like what you said is that you said that it's because you and your girlfriend were talking about the birth control. Birth control has a lot of side effects. Yeah. But it's so normalized to make the girl be on birth control and not the guy, even though that what you're saying sounds like it's so easy to do, a lot easier than being on birth control as a woman. Yeah,
and also I didn't know, but like my ex told me like right after was that it is hard for women to like have what is it,
tubes tied?
No, it's hysterectomy or something like that.
Yeah.
Like to get their
tubes tied.
The tubes tied.
Yeah.
No? Oh, is that the?
That's like the slang, I guess.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
Yeah, like, cause for me, they just asked me, "Hey, are you sure you want to do it?" And then they gave me, I think it was like a month to like come back and like, you know, actually do the surgery. But for women, like you have, from what I heard, like you have to have a kid beforehand, or like you have to.
Really?
Yeah, like it's not as easy to have.
Wow. I think I've heard of that because I think my mom did that and. They had even asked her, I think after she had, I think you, and they had asked her if she wanted to. But I think it's at the time, it's also like at a certain age, you have to be at a certain age, and then you have to at least had like a couple, like one kid or something.
I've also, I've heard that the operation is a lot more extensive than
dangerous, right?
Yeah, than the men's that you know, you said, how long did it take you to do the vasectomy?
Minutes?
Yeah, for women, I think it's a whole, like they put you under, it's like hours. And there is, like you said, I think there's a chance that you could die.
And you got to be awake during it?
Yeah,
Wow,
because
that's
the
insane.
anesthesia is like in the balls. Like they give you a
Did that hurt when they put
yeah,
it?
that did hurt. But it was like
Like a
I don't know, getting
pinch?
a vaccine. Yeah.
Like
Like
it put in your balls.
If you don't have to answer this, but where do they inject?
yeah, like in each ball.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I thought it was gonna be and just to clarify, like I am someone that has like a very low pain tolerance, and I
Yeah.
was still able to like handle it.
Oh, okay.
Cause like for me, like I recognize that I'm a little bitch when it comes to like pain. Like I can't take it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I never been in a fight. Like I with tattoos, I mostly have like little ones like lines.
Yeah.
But still like it wasn't a big deal to me. But yeah, like they do the anesthesia like in each ball. It doesn't hurt as much, and then right after you don't feel anything. And yeah, like it was them like cutting it open, and then like and then like cutting the what is it, like the cords that you have in your
Yeah.
bones, like
Yeah.
where the sperm. And then the thing that I didn't know about was that they had to like burn it together. And like I
Really?
could smell it. Yeah. But yeah, it was weird.
Whoa.
But you don't feel it. You don't feel it at all.
I guess it's
So-
not bad. It's not
Yeah,
bad.
no, like it's
Yeah,
not, it's
compared
not
to
bad.
especially compared to what
No,
women.
for
Yeah.
sure,
have
for
to do.
sure.
And
Well, I
yeah,
feel
like
like-
after 2 weeks, I haven't thought about
Yeah.
it at all.
Well, because I think it just goes back to how we were talking about like or like how does it look like or whatever. Isn't it like men don't do it because like it kind of like what is it? Is it demasculate?
I guess
Emasculates?
maybe they have
Yeah.
that connotation.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's at least that's what I've heard as to why like some men don't want to do it because I feel like it kind of hurts their masculinity. I
No,
guess.
yeah, because my mom doesn't know about it, but my dad does. And when I told him
Oh.
that, because my mom like she wants to be a grandma,
Oh.
and like I haven't had the heart to tell her that I don't
Yeah.
have a vasectomy, because like at least once a month she tells me like I want to be a grandma, or like I'm gonna die without ever like feeling that, and like I don't want to tell her that. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, that's rough. I feel you.
Yeah, but with my dad, like I told him that I got vasectomy because he doesn't care, and yeah, like he was like, just make sure to not tell your friends because they're gonna make fun of you. Like you should like, like they are gonna make comments about you not having kids or like not being able to like, have kids. But yeah, like I don't know, like
Yeah.
to me that's so weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think it's funny because it's like what, like, yes, like you remember when you would bully those kids in middle school who couldn't,
Yeah.
who were gonna have kids.
can't-
You're not gonna have kids. But I get I get it more in the sense of like there's this like idea in I think just society or like in
Yeah.
media of like men have their balls,
Where,
Yeah.
where do you think that comes from? Do you think it's because people have like, when they think vasectomy, they're not fully educated on what that looks like, so they think of like what happens to their dogs, or do you think
Yeah.
they have like
I think it's because of like the belief that men have to like spread their seed or like have multiple kids. Like there's the mentality of like I want to continue my my
Like heritage
lineage.
or
Yeah, my
your
heritage.
lineage. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's mostly like broke men that like don't have anything. Like what do you want to continue? Like you're not gonna give anything
that
to
makes
your
sense.
kids.
Yeah.
Like when like if you see it
Yeah.
in movies, right? When there's
Yeah.
like a king and he's like, "You will bear me a son,"
Right.
Like, that
Like
kinda
it makes
stuff.
sense if you're like rich or whatever, but like broke men that like don't have anything to like
If you're like a broke loser,
give.
like what are you?
Yeah.
That's all they have.
what's
You're
the
gonna make
heritage?
Their
more-
name,
you're gonna
that's
make more
it.
losers.
That's all they have.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say because I had also seen a
Mhm.
TikTok about it. Would you guys change your last name to like your wife's name? Like, would you guys change your last name to her last name?
I think I would do whoever has the coolest last name.
I
If I'm being dead ass,
Mhm.
I've always thought about this because, I mean, all respect to my family and our last name, but I feel like I have such a basic last name.
What is it?
Martinez.
Martinez?
Yeah.
I mean,
and-
that's a good one though.
Yeah, but everyone-
It's not
but-
like Lopez.
There's like everybody's named Martinez.
Yeah,
So I've
yeah.
always been like, I would if they have a cooler last name. If
Mhm.
it's something
Yeah.
fucking awesome,
Yeah.
I'd be like, hell yeah, like I'm down.
Yeah.
yeah.
what about you?
I would do, 'cause that's how my name is. My mom kept
Oh,
her and
yeah.
added my dad's.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that where I just add it to my name.
Your
know?
mom's is which one?
The one that
The first one?
The first one. My mom's the first one, then my dad's the last one.
Okay.
But on like
Yeah, sure.
papers, they're both considered
There.
my
Yeah.
because there's a hyphen. So I would probably do that where I just add hers to mine.
You have both too, right?
Yeah, I have both.
Yeah.
But he only has one.
It's weird. We're siblings.
With
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
little sister too.
Yeah.
Oh, really? They
Yeah,
put it.
like for me is in Mexico it's Jose Juan Caballero Navarrete. Like Caballero is my dad's last name, and then Navarrete is my mom's. And then, but they weren't married when they had me. So in the U.S., it's like my mom last name first, and then my dad's. So like Jose Juan Navarrete Caballero. I don't think that. I don't know. Like to me, it's weird the having to take your spouse's like last name. Cause like I'm not, I'm not your dad. Like I don't want to give you my last name, you know.
Yeah.
So when I marry someone, like I don't want them to change their last name. I don't want to change my last name. It's like we're still like, different people.
Yeah.
Well, because I feel like I've had kind of like that debate, I guess, with myself. Because I'm like, I love, like, I've had my name for my whole life. So I'm kind of like, to eventually kind of change it is something that I'm kind of like hesitant about, because it's kind of like letting go a part of myself, you know. And traditionally it is that you have to get, you know, your man's like last name. And I think that's still very much in the whole like patriarchy and traditional stuff of like, why is it that I have to do it, but he's not really required? And even with like, I guess laws, right, of like what's accepted, of like, because people are like, oh, like if you guys have like bank accounts or something, or like just different things. But it's like there's a whole process of me changing my name. It'll cost me to change my name. I mean, and that's why people get marriage license, because I was looking more into it of like changing your name, and that's why it's a little bit more accepted, because then there's an actual license that tells you that there's an event that happened as to why you change your last name, which is fine with like when you want to do paperwork and stuff. I might not know like this stuff like correctly, because I had just like read about it, but I was just more into that of like, would you guys do it? Because like for me, I'm a little hesitant to it. I'm open to it, but it's just like, I think because it's been a name that I've just grown up for so long, that it's so hard to like let go for me personally.
Yeah, no, that's valid. I think
No,
that's
yeah,
valid.
but it's interesting you guys bring it up, because I've seen it more, not specifically like in the way you brought it, more like I've seen it in like degrees. People talk about it because they're like, well, my man didn't earn that degree I did, so why does he get his name on it? So that's where I've seen it more from.
I was reading about it. I think people have been talking about it a lot more recently. I think it there was like a jump. I forget the years, but it went from like 14% to 22% of people starting to talk more about changing their last names and not wanting to do it. And like they're just being more like openness of like, you're not really required, because it's weirdly enough that I feel like I grew up hearing that you're required to do it because of just like like whether if you have like bank accounts, or whether it's like if you guys buy something together, like you guys should have the same last name. It's just easier, right? And I think that's just like how it's been like, I guess, constructed or like built for me, where I'm kind of like, even more it makes me feel a little hesitant about like keeping my actual name when I do get married or whatever.
Because for me, like I grew up in Mexico, so like the standard was like you keep your last name, and then when you have kids, they take like both. So when I came to the US and like started having like white friends, they told me about like, you know, the mom taking the last name, and like to me like that is weird. Like that, I feel like that's why I wouldn't want to do it. Because because it's like I'm not used to it.
Now that you're a property or something, like they have your name. Like this belongs to whatever your last name is. Right. So I get you. But moving on to that was the first one.
Wait, before we move on, I did have a question. You brought up how because I thought, not interesting, but I was like, I don't know, I was curious to see if you knew like the origins of it, that women have to have had a child to get their tubes tied. Like
you were saying it.
They
have to have had a child.
I couldn't find the term for it, but it's not like getting your tubes tied. It's like getting the whole
like eggs removed or something.
It's like the whole thing like taken out.
Because I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like you. I don't know the.
What do you know where the origins of that from? Because that sounds pretty like crazy.
I don't know the origins, but I know for sure like that is a thing where you need to like doctors are not gonna give you that procedure unless you show that you have like had kids before, or is a medical risk for you to like still have your
Uterus.
yeah, that
Wow,
there you go.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
because like taking the
Interesting.
whole thing out.
Because that sounds
Um,
super like, I don't know, dystopian kind of like.
Mhm.
No, it is.
Yeah, like
it
no,
is.
you
yeah.
have to have had kids already.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
like that's why I also felt strong about like
Mhm.
having the vasectomy. You know,
Mhm.
like it is easier for men to like have that than a woman. So yeah,
So y'all gonna do
Yeah.
it?
So
No, just kidding.
Yeah.
shout out
Right
to the
now.
women. Make your men get a vasectomy.
Yeah.
you should. You should.
Hey, talk to them.
But okay, moving on to the next one. This one's crazy.
Mm.
If a guy cheated on someone with me, I'm gonna keep going on with it. I'm not the one cheating.
I know,
I
like
don't know about that one.
Yeah.
Wait, say again.
It's basically saying that if a guy cheated on me, I'm gonna ignore it and I'm gonna continue our relationship
not
because
her
I'm not
fault.
the one
Yeah.
cheating.
yeah.
Because it's not my fault.
Stand up. Come on.
I know
Get up,
that's my
girl.
response. Like
Girl, get
technically,
up.
it's not your fault. Like you don't owe anything
Yeah.
to the person being cheated on. But still, like, why do you want to be the like the other woman? You know, like that's
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Like-
you should aim to be more than that.
Yeah, like have some. They're not showing you respect though, so don't
Mhm.
stay in a place where someone's not treating
Yeah.
you with
Yeah.
kindness.
Yeah.
Wait. In the thing, it was she's the other woman.
Yeah. Like she's saying like
Okay.
I'm gonna stay with a man like cheating
Yeah,
on his
that's
girl.
wild.
Yeah.
That's
She
wild.
not a girl's girl, bro.
That's a controversial.
Right,
I mean, you say controversial opinion. That is one of them.
It is.
That is.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, that's controversial.
Yeah,
And
another
a
one-
lot of girls have that mentality though. where
Really?
they're-
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there I won't say everyone, but there's a good amount that I've met where they're like, and it's not my problem, like that he's cheating on her girl.
Really?
Because like a couple of stories later, someone sent me a message about like how it's an ego boost for the other person. You know, like I'm harder than the other girl, so like you know,
Mhm.
like the guy wants me instead of like the person that he's dating.
Oh.
And like I kind of get it. Like for me, if a girl was dating someone and then they cheated on that guy with me, like it would be an ego boost. But at the same time, I wouldn't like stay.
Oh, I get you. I think I misheard
meant,
the
me too.
yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I
the
misinterpreted.
girlfriend being like, if my
Oh
genuine
no,
man-
no, no,
Yeah.
no,
My
no! Like
bad.
being the other woman. Like,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh damn.
I saw both though, because I saw where you were saying
Yeah.
of like, oh, I'm the girl and I'm getting cheated on, and
Yeah.
I'm still gonna stay in the relationship. And there was the other one where it was like, no, she's the girl, she's the other woman.
Yeah.
No,
then-
That's
yeah.
dude, that's crazy. When I was younger, I remember I was in a situation where I knew of somebody who was in a relationship, but they were into me, and I had the opportunity to pursue it, but I just couldn't. Like morally, it was just like really bad for me. I was like, I
Yeah.
just feel
Yeah.
like it just doesn't feel right.
Wait, when? When was it?
When I was like 19,
I feel like I would have done it.
I-
like back then. Yeah.
I know honestly I the temptation was strong, but I was like I can't, like I feel like for some reason I always think of my mom. I was like I feel like my mom would be mad at me, like she would just yell at me.
Yeah.
Like my conscience sounds like my mom,
Yeah.
but I couldn't do it.
I mean, finding out that you're the other woman is really weird. Because I remember that happening to me, where this guy was very like flirty with me, and like I thought there was something, you know, between us or whatever, and then I found out he had a girlfriend, and I was like, ew. I felt dirty myself, even though we hadn't done like
Yeah.
anything. We were just like hanging out, we were just talking, like, and I thought it was gonna lead to us like having like a relationship, but then to eventually find out that he had a girlfriend, I was just like, this feels nasty. I feel so wrong. That's why I'm like, it's just crazy that people can actually do that and like at least stay. Like, yeah, you can do it, but to at least stay and still keep doing it is just what's crazy to me.
No, yeah, I was like more of like I knew that the person had a partner, and I was just like,
So like for
Nah.
I don't know if you guys know, but like when people do that, or I guess the people who have the ego boost of it, is it only an ego boost if it's like kind of like a fling, or is it an ego boost if they steal them all together? Because I feel like if you steal them all together, I don't get how you'd have the confidence to be like they wouldn't do that again.
Right.
know?
Right.
I guess if it's like a fling, right? It's like, oh, you know, whatever. But
Mhm.
if it's like, nah, now that's my man, or
yeah,
that's
no,
my
they're
girl,
chirping.
Yeah,
it's
no.
like, nah, they're gonna do that to
I
you
couldn't
again.
start a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But there's some people who still do it because
No,
they're
for
like,
sure, yeah.
I took him and he's
Yeah.
like mine. I
Yeah.
feel like it's just is that possessive, like
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
possessive of someone. I think that's the other part of it. Because I feel
No, I
You thought
thought
that was
I
true
thought
saying
she was
that,
talking
right?
about her
no,
man, like the guy that
not
was
me,
like-
not me. No, not me. But I think that's just like how people feel. It's
Yeah.
like it's just being a little like possessive of like
Or being like, I got it like that. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
delusion.
I
They're
can
being
I
delusional.
can have whoever I want.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
You, yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's.
Have
where
you
it
had
comes
any experiences? Like
No,
that?
I haven't. Thankfully, I
Not
can
yet.
escape. I can escape.
from. Yeah.
I can.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a crazy position to be in. But let's see, the next one is I should be allowed to be a bitch to my friend's boyfriend if I think they suck.
Yeah, I agree
Should
with
be
that.
allowed.
If they think they suck, I'm gonna say yeah, but I'm like, who are you? Like, do they actually suck, or are you just being mean? You know, if they genuinely suck, yeah.
If there's
like,
if they're being sucky to like my friend,
yeah,
yes,
for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if you're
that's
just
what I was
being mean,
thinking.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, I also think I have to add another pretext. I think it has to be you first have to tell your friend that their partner isn't shit. And then if they don't listen to you, then you
Yeah.
can be a bitch.
Yeah.
yeah,
Then
Yeah.
you can be a
Yeah.
bitch. Because if
Yeah.
it's like you didn't tell them, it's like, bro, you're just being a bitch then.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
at least let them know. Let's
Yeah.
see. No, I want to get a juicy one. Let me see. Let me see. Does pineapple go on pizza?
Yes.
It does.
it does. Yeah.
This
If you're an adult, yeah.
Right.
Damn.
Is it possible to have true opposite gender friends while in a relationship? I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
mature,
Most of
yeah.
my friends are women. Like,
Yeah.
I think in my life, I only had like 3 or 4 like guy friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the rest is like women. So
Mhm.
yeah, like yeah. Whenever
okay.
I'm in a relationship, like it's only.
I was gonna
like
say something
women.
crazy. I was gonna be like, "Are they pretty?"
Yeah, they are.
You rather
Well, because
you rather be a jealous girlfriend?
You know how people say that, where they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, like you can only be friends with them because you're not really, like actually like attracted to them. Like they're not
Yeah, I've heard
attractive
that.
to you."
Yeah.
Is that what do you guys think about that? Like, is that like is that a valid argument or no?
You can
say-
only be friends if you're not attracted to them?
Yeah, like you're not attracted to them, or they're not an attractive person.
No, most of my friends are pretty. Like yeah, like most of the people that hang out with, like they are good looking people.
Mhm.
No, like I'm not saying that I don't fuck with like ugly people, but but like just because I can recognize that someone is pretty
Yeah.
and like I still don't want to fuck them, you know, like I still
Yeah.
Okay.
I just see them as friends.
Yeah. No,
So
I
yeah, like,
agree.
I'm-
I agree. I feel
yeah.
like I have friends that I feel like they're attractive, but it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that like
Mhm.
I became friends with them because I couldn't fuck them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
could be friends with people who are objectively attractive and
Yeah.
not think that there's like something there.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm friends with ugly people.
I know. He's like, he doesn't have anything against ugly friends. Like, you could be ugly
I
and be his
accept
friend.
it,
Yeah.
No, I feel well, cause I feel like I remember I think a little bit growing up of being like, no, I don't think they can be friends. But
Mhm.
I feel like the more I guess I have a close relationship with my brother, that I was more like, I feel like you can. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong. And I also saw him and like him having like, you know, like girlfriends. And like I had like a select few of guy friends. But for the most part, they for sure were always just flirting with me, and I was
Yeah.
like, nah.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait,
Yeah.
to protect myself, my sister means friends who are girls.
yeah,
not,
friends, not girlfriends. Yeah,
My girlfriend right
homegirls.
now wouldn't know. Her heart
Homegirls.
stopped right now when
Yeah,
she
yeah.
heard that. No, yeah,
No,
yeah.
homegirls, like, and I would see like their interactions, and I mean, I had like I've only occasionally ever had like one guy friend. Like that's usually how it was for me. But it's because I was always just like, I want to have girlfriends. I already have my brothers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like you can. Like, I don't think there's anything like there, and I think it's just a lot of just trust.
Well, I
within
think
each
you
other.
gain a lot if you have like opposite gender friends.
Mhm.
I think that to only be surrounded by people who are the same gender as you is, I think it cuts you off
Yeah.
from a lot of perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just gender. Like for me, because when I was in Kentucky, like I will talk to people that had like friend groups that were exactly like them, like the same race, sexuality, gender, and like I don't know, like to me, like that is a little bit weird, or it's not weird, but like you were saying, like
You're missing
you
out.
miss, yeah,
Mhm.
You're missing
Yeah.
out.
like other perspectives.
Yeah, because I agree. Like, having women friends gives me like, it made me be very like already experienced in a lot of what women go through. So when I had a girlfriend, I knew how to treat her right because, you know, I'd always hear my women friends or my sister be like, I hate that my man does this, this, and that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so don't be this, this, and that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But moving on.
Oh,
Go ahead,
okay.
go ahead.
No, I
you
was
go
gonna
ahead.
ask you about like the friend thing. So, like, you will be okay with your girl like, having a opposite guy, opposite gender like friend, right?
Yeah.
Will there be something that will make you uncomfortable? For example, like them taking a trip together, if they're like best friends. And,
Well, my girlfriend right now, her best friend
Uh-huh.
is a man who's gay.
yeah,
But I feel like because he's gay, it makes me obviously comfortable. But if he was straight and they took a trip together, I think I would be a little uneasy, not in the possessive way, just in because of like I think anything could happen in
Yeah.
any trip. And so I don't think I'd be overly jealous. Like I wouldn't be like, you gotta FaceTime me, like make sure you guys get separate rooms. But I'd just be cautious. But I think it's natural to just be cautious. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a little cautious. It's about more of like being overly possessive and being like, fuck no, you can't take that trip. Like people can do whatever they're gonna do. And this is a
Yeah.
mentality that I've had of if somebody's gonna cheat on you, they're gonna cheat on you.
right.
It's about knowing your own respect and knowing your own worth. And if somebody does do you dirty, knowing that that doesn't mean anything about you, but it means a lot about who they are as a person.
100%.
Yeah, so I'd have that confidence of like I trust in her. If she betrays my trust, that's more on her than it's on me.
Yeah.
And so that's my perspective kind of on that take of like if you're afraid of like your partner having opposite gender friends,
Yeah.
like always make sure that like you give yourself the grace and relaxation that you're worthy of love, and if they can't see that, then that's bad on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most I can say. Yeah.
Yeah. Feel the same thing.
Yeah, right.
I mean, my boyfriend, his best friend's also a girl. And she has her own apartment and they're always hanging out, and I'm really comfortable with them. And I think it also helps in the fact if like people are having issues with this, I think it also helps in the fact that I've met her and I know her, and like I think we've also created like a sort of friendship between us of like, you know, like he's my boyfriend and you're his best friend. Like we've created kind of like this thing of like respect too, because I've met her. And I think that's really helpful. Like if this is an issue that is going on, I feel like it is helpful to kind of like hang out with them and get to know them, to kind of get more of like comfortable of like how they are, you know, you can see how they are and how they hang out, and that'll tell you a lot for sure. And so I think that was really helpful with it. And it's really cool. I'm like, they're cool, they're chill. Yeah, I like them.
Yeah. I last two, second to last.
Okay.
Body count does matter. Do you guys agree or
I
disagree?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the conversation about body count, it's mostly like the limit for it. Like, you know, people wanting to be with people that don't have like a high body count. But for me, when I think about it, it's like I don't want to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't have enough experience, because I've been in like those situations, and like it's like frustrating. Like I don't know, I don't want to like teach someone like what to do or like how to do it. So for me, it's like I have like what is it, like a minimum of like what I think they should have.
Okay.
That's
But yeah, like
groundbreaking.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. I have a
I've
minimum.
never heard that.
like I will never want to be with a virgin. Like I don't know.
Wow.
Like I don't know. It's
Damn, look at
weird.
the-
It's weird when like men like want that. Like they want someone that's like pure or whatever. Yeah. Like
Because
Wow.
it's giving like you're into like really young women. Because I
Yeah.
mean, I think that body count grows with just like age, like just experience.
yeah.
So I feel like to want somebody who's like a virgin and like has never been with anybody, it's like it sounds like you almost want like a kid. Like you want a child.
Yeah.
Like you want like a teenager or
Someone that's
something.
naive.
It also
experienced.
sounds like if that's something you hyperfixate on, that you're really insecure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, because on that response that you're reading, like the only time that I care about body count was when I was a virgin and like I had like one or two, and I didn't know what I was doing and I felt insecure about it, you know. And then after I got comfortable and like I knew that I was like, you know, good, I stopped caring about it. Like I don't, I don't pay attention to like.
Once you became a pro.
Yeah.
Can we know your minimum?
It will be 4.
4?
Yeah.
That's solid.
Yeah.
I can respect
It's a
that.
good number.
I can respect that.
Yeah. Just anyone between 4 and I don't know 30.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be my
4 and 30.
4 and 30. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Is there like limit to you?
limit?
Yeah.
No, I feel like I've never personally have had an issue with body count. I'm kind of like, I mean, have your fun, or if you had a girlfriend, like, do that.
But I think that's normalized to women to accept men's body count, no matter what it is. I think the other way around is a lot harder for men to accept whatever a woman's body
Yeah,
count
like we don't talk
is.
about
Yeah.
men being whores.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. The new
Yeah.
generation is doing a good job, I feel like. I feel like in my generation, growing up in high school, I saw a lot of like women actually being like, no, I don't want to fuck with him because he's a fuck boy, or like he's been with a
Yeah.
lot of girls. And I remember I would tell my older brother, because I have an older brother who's almost 10 years older than me, and he'd be like, what? Like, men can't be whores. Men can't be hoes. And I was like, well, it's changing, bro.
They're fuck boys now.
They
Right.
can.
They had
yeah.
a new name, and it was fuck boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
the last one.
wait,
Oh,
wait,
go
No,
ahead.
what about you? Like, do you have a limit to body count?
For me, it's more about like testing. Like, I just hope that you get tested, because
Yeah.
I just, when I hear body count, I don't think of the superficial, like,
Mhm.
oh my god, they've been with this man, they're like a slut or whatever. I think of more of just like safety and
Yeah.
like diseases, because people have fucking diseases all the time.
Mhm.
So when I think about it, it's like, I just think that you could have whatever body count as long as you've been tested.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I really care.
Yeah, I agree. And I've always felt like the reasons I've heard for people to hyperfixate on it, I've always been like, that's an insane reason to
Yeah.
care. It's usually like a religious like
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
or it's super conservative
Yeah.
and like objectifying and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I've never really cared.
No.
Yeah. But the last one to end off the podcast, I believe in going through that phone periodically.
Damn. That's problematic.
No, you go first.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think I think you should respect people's privacy. Like, I think actively being like, let me go through your phone is like a little
Mhm.
weird, because it sounds like you don't trust me. But I think if you're like, always like that, it's
That
like,
is suspicious.
that's
yeah.
weird. Like if if you're like if my girlfriend was like, oh, can I use your phone for this? I wouldn't give a fuck. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, can I Google this? But I think there are people who are like, no, I'll Google it. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like that. So I feel like if you're like that, then you're probably like, all right, maybe
do
you're hiding something.
do you guys know each other's passcodes?
Yeah, I share with my partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I share it. Yeah.
That's
What do
good.
you think, Jose? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I also like
Yeah.
all the people I dated, they know my passcode. Like I know theirs.
Mhm.
The only time that I went through someone's phone, it wasn't because I was insecure about the relationship. I was just like, being nosy, like nosy.
Yeah.
I was like a little curious, and like I was looking at the way that they texted with like their friend with benefits. Like I went through their chat, and I don't know, for some reason I couldn't stop. Like I was reading like their conversation, and like she was okay with it. Like she was okay with like me going through her phone. Like we talked about it in the past. But like yeah, it was like them talking about doing stuff.
Mhm.
And like I just kept like scrolling and scrolling. I don't know, like I was like hurting myself because like, I didn't want to see it, but at the same time I couldn't stop. But like that's the only time that I went through like someone's phone. Like it wasn't because I
Yeah.
was insecure or anything. I just like I was
Mhm.
curious.
I've
about it.
I've heard about that too. I'm sure, Julie, you've probably seen on your side of like TikTok or social media where it's like women will go through like their man's likes or like stuff that they go
Mm.
through, and they'll only stop until they find something that makes them sick and not eat for a few days.
Yeah.
I wonder what like in the human curiosity that does. Like, why do you want to like look for stuff?
I
that
think
hurts
it's just to kind of, in a way, I guess, validate your feelings or your thoughts that they are doing something sus. And I think that's why you kind of fixate on when you actually find something, because you're like, oh, I was right. Like he is doing something like this. I think
Yeah.
that's what they kind of go through.
Therapy is free, bro.
Yeah.
That's
It
crazy.
Therapy.
Wait,
Therapy's not free.
Some therapy is free. Some therapy.
No,
is
yeah,
free.
some forms of therapy.
No, yeah. If you're going through your phone, ask why you want to go through the phone. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard this take of if you're going through the phone to find something, it's because like there's already been a lot of signals that there is
Mhm.
something to find.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, like
But
like you said, right? The if they're always sheltering their
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
If they're
It's probably
always
'cause they
like
got
that,
something on
yeah,
there.
if they're always like,
Well, I
that's
think
right.
in those, I guess, scenarios, yeah. But I feel like for some people, I think they just generally have like insecurities and they're just overthinkers. That I feel like some people just generally just have those thoughts of like, oh shit, like he's hiding something from me, like I feel like I've met a lot of people who are overthinkers where they just see one thing and they just hold on to that and they're like, oh, something's going on, like something's going on. And it's probably just like he probably just motioned one time, like he just lifted his phone when she tried to look, and she's like, oh shit, like he's hiding something from me. And I think there's just people who are like that, and it's just like, you know, past traumas. Some people have past traumas.
Yeah, that's true.
And also go ahead.
No, you were saying?
No, I was gonna say, and you may like, there's people that like hide their phone or like what they're doing in there because maybe they're looking up something embarrassing. Like I don't.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
But yeah, but I feel like I mean, again, I think a lot of it is for sure just communication and just like having that openness. I feel like I don't think there's anything wrong too if you're the type of like in a relationship that you like sharing like that shit, like that's fine. Like I think you also shouldn't judge them if they're like, because I know that there's the other thing of like location too, like sharing locations. And people have started talking about that, like, why are you guys sharing locations, like, just to keep up with him, like, even more kind of thing. And it's just like, the people just want to do that. Like, that's just people's relationships that they want to kind of just do that, you know? Yeah. Like, you think that.
Oh,
no?
Wait, what?
I don't like sharing my location.
I know, I don't like it either, but I understand why people do it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
You don't understand?
No, I don't understand.
Why don't you understand?
Cause what? Like, bro, it's my location. Like, let me be free. Let me be free. I don't want to live in this totalitarian. How do you say it?
Totalitarian.
Why
don't you want? Why doesn't he want you to know where you are?
So your girlfriend doesn't have your location?
Nobody has my location. Not even my friends.
The government has your location.
That's not true. That's not true. Not after this podcast.
Hey, ask him why he doesn't want to share his location.
Shut up. Shut up.
I actually think that's interesting that you're very against it.
They're very against it. I don't want to feel like people are watching me.
That's interesting. I guess because I don't.
Do you have yours?
Yeah, people have my location. I've never really had like a problem with it.
I've always had it. Well, because before I had my boyfriend, I would share it with my friends.
Yeah,
and it was because when we would go to like festivals and we had like our shared locations,
yeah.
Or if just in general, like if I was like traveling here by myself, they would have my location just so that they know that I made it home.
Yeah,
like
Andrea, she's been on the podcast and she sent me her location when she like goes out like in dangerous walks to be like, oh, just in case, like, you know. So
maybe it's different. I don't know.
No, I think it's a different connotation.
I don't know.
I've never done it. Because I've never sent anybody my location.
Because I think even the reason I started sharing it with my boyfriend was because I think I was gonna go travel somewhere by myself, and I sent it to him, and I was like, here, like, just in case, like, I don't like tell you I made it or like something, or just so you can keep an eye of like where I am, and so you know, so you're aware. Because I think that time was the first time I was gonna go on a trip by myself, and I was like, here's my location, just so you know where I am, and also just to keep an eye on myself, because like if I lose my phone, I can just text you and be like, hey, do you see my phone anywhere? Kind of thing. But it was just like, it's mostly just because like I go to festivals and like just to have that awareness.
I get that. But I've never even asked people for the location. And even when people share me the location, I only use it for that one time and I never look at it.
I don't look at it either, though. I don't know. I think people get this connotation that unless you're like a psycho, that you're like, oh man, they move
like someone is gonna constantly look.
Yeah, but I feel like I've never really. It's not that interesting. It's boring. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's y'all aren't as interesting as you think. Like, you know, I feel like most people are just at home or at work. You know? Not like that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. But to wrap up the podcast, Jose, I just want to thank you for coming onto the pod. It was an amazing conversation. I love this whole podcast. This is really, really fun. I just want to give a shout out to Jose. Make sure you guys check out our socials. Links will be in the description. Before we go, we're going to give a shout out to
our Patreons. Shout out to Yoel. Shout out to Jada Chicano, Daniel Villanueva, Angel Zamaron, Sarah without an H, Carlos, and Steven Carbajal. Thank you so much for your patronage. We really appreciate you. And if anybody ever wants to join the Patreon, again, our link is always in the bio. Again, thank you so much to Jose for joining us. It was a wonderful podcast. We hope everybody watching enjoyed.
Also, I was going to say, make sure we're still going to do our live show. So make sure y'all get your tickets at crypto.com arena. Yeah, it's getting closer. Month. So make sure y'all get them before.
And you get a free Clipper game.
Yep. And you get to high-five the players. We still got a few left, right, with that?
still got a couple spots left.
Yeah, we got a few spots left. So if you guys want those spots, make sure you buy those tickets.
The link will also be in the description. But again, thank you to Jose for being
Jose,
here today.
You want any last? Yeah, give me your most controversial take as a last goodbye.
My most controversial take.
Yeah, your most controversial.
No, wait, you go, and then I'll think about mine.
Most
Damn.
controversial.
Oh, I actually thought of one recently. I was at the gym and I recently thought of one. What was it?
Damn.
It was literally because you had asked me. Do you remember you asked me like, do you have any like controversial
yeah?
take? You asked me, but it was off. I was off camera and I answered and I was like, it was this. But then I thought of one even worse and I was like, no, this is true.
Dude,
what
do you
was
have
it?
one? I'm thinking too.
No.
Controversial take.
I'm never controversial. I'm just kidding.
That's a
Yeah,
lie.
That's a lie. That's a lie. I feel like I can't remember. Jose, do you have any yet?
I don't want to be the first one.
All right, then.
I don't know any.
I guess we'll just end off the podcast.
Oh yeah, that's
We'll find out. we'll post it on the story or something.
Yeah.
Or you guys leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
If you guys have any.
What's your
So-
most controversial take? Or DM me. And
DM me personally.
Yeah, DM me personally. I'll sort through one and then I'll put it right here. We'll edit it into the podcast. But I hope you guys have a beautiful week. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. And we'll see you guys next week. See ya.
Bye.